Sinop Maritime Martyrs Fountain. The historical event that led to the construction of the Sinop Sea Martyrs Fountain was the Ottoman-Russian War known as the Crimean War on November 30, 1853. When the Russians made excessive demands on the Ottomans regarding Jerusalem as the protectors of the Orthodox, a crisis broke out between the two countries. The Ottoman Empire, which did not have the necessary resources, sent a light tonnage fleet to Batumi in order to ensure the safety of the Black Sea coast. When the ships of Patrona Osman and Merliva Hussein Pasha, who were responsible for protecting the fleet, were damaged in a storm, they anchored in the safe Sinop port. The fleets of the Russian Navy were also roaming the Black Sea in order to destroy Turkish ships as per the Tsar's orders. When time was lost in reinforcing our fleet anchored in Sinop with heavy warships and in taking it out of Sinop and bringing it to Istanbul, the Russian fleet commander Pavel Stepanovich Naumov raided the Turkish fleet with his heavy warships on Wednesday, November 30, 1853, taking advantage of the foggy weather. He completely sank 11 Turkish ships in the harbor and burned down the city's Turkish neighborhood in particular with cannon fire within 3 to 5 hours. The only ship that reached Istanbul was the Taif ferry. The situation was so dire that Sultan Abdülmecid, who saw the ferry, said out of sorrow, "I wish you had also been martyred in that battle." While 31 sailors were martyred, the exact number of wounded could not be determined. 155 of our soldiers, including Patrona Osman Pasha, were captured by the Russians. The Russians had 38 dead and 240 wounded. The British and the French could only transport our wounded to Istanbul 2 days later with 2 ships. In the fire that broke out due to the effect of the oily rags and cannons thrown into the city by the Russians, mosques, schools, houses and shops were burned and civilians were also badly damaged. In accordance with the article of the Paris Treaty signed in 1856 after the war, the Black Sea will be declared a neutral zone and demilitarized. The port of Sinop lost its vitality for a long time. After this painful event, Sultan Abdülmecid had a medal minted for the city of Sinop. The medal, which will be the first for a city in the Ottoman Empire, weighs 141.2 grams and is 68 millimeters in diameter. On the front, there is a portrait of Abdülmecid, and on the back, there is a picture of a woman laying a wreath on the grave of the sailors who died in the raid and the words "Europe, they died for you, Sinop 1853. Sultan Abdülmecid distributed this commemorative medal to British and French state administrators. The Crimean War Medal was also given to those who showed service. When our martyrs, who were taken out of the sea with the help of teams from Istanbul, were buried in the cemetery, the captain of the Navy Mehmet Ali Pasha ensured that it was surrounded by solid walls so that passengers and animals would not wander on it. Grand Vizier Mehmet Ali Pasha had the inscription consisting of 2 pieces of marble stone describing the Battle of Sinop made. The inscription written in Thuluth is also in the garden of the Sinop Archaeology Museum. The Maritime Martyrs Monument, opened in the 10th year of the Republic, is also in the garden of the Sinop Archaeology Museum. The 231 corpses and bones unearthed during the excavation carried out while the Martyrdom Monument was being built were collected in a tomb chamber created under the monument. The tomb of the heroic fleet commander, Martyr Rial Hussein Pasha, is next to the Seyit Bilal tomb. The sword stated to belong to Hussein Pasha is exhibited in the Naval Museum in Besiktas. Fountains, they are the works that keep our historical memory alive, left to humanity by statesmen and philanthropists. They are a blessed heritage that not only humans but all living beings will benefit from. They are the place of water that we carry to our homes for many years. In order to please the souls of those who died as martyrs in the Battle of Sinop, 107,000 kurush was collected, 50,000 for the Sultan himself and 57,000 for his philanthropists, as a share of the reward. The needs of the fountain that was built, such as marble, stone and lead, were transported from Istanbul to Sinop by the state-owned postal ferry. The fountain is a cubic shape made of cut stone, 3.80 meters by 3.80 meters. It is an Ottoman work with a long dome and 4 faces, with water taps on all facades except the east facade and pools underneath. The eaves are lined with square stones with flower motifs. A small stone rose is placed at the top corners of the fountain, and it is covered with a zinc-coated dome. On the north and south facades, The fountains are surrounded by a marble pediment decorated with floral crescent and star motifs under the marble inscription. On the north facade, the marble inscription does not have Sultan Abdülmecit's tugra on either side, but rather rosebud branches in stylized leaves. The same inscription is on the south facade, and the tugra belonging to Sultan Abdülmecit on the right and left of the inscription has been restored to its original. The following is written on the 4-line Thuluth script inscription on the north facade of the fountain. The fountains built with the order of the Sultan and the help of benefactors in order to please the beautiful souls of the nameless martyrs who drowned in the sea for the sake of the Ottoman religion and state and who drank from the Kevser pool are a blessed work. Mehmet Zeki wrote its inscription for the sake of Allah in 1857 to 1858. The name of the fountain later became the Republic Fountain.